In lesson 4.12, we're going to talk about problem solving that involves multi-step division problems. Let's take a look at some ways that we can dissect these problems and make them a little bit easier for us to understand going forward. So here are some tips for dissecting word problems. Think about the word problem as if it's a story. Use your reading comprehension skills to think about who, what, where, when, and why questions while you're reading. So think about what's going on when we're reading these stories. Draw a picture to help if you need. And focus on the story that's in front of you first, and then worry about the numbers. It's really important to understand what the question's asking us as a whole before we start figuring out what we're doing with our numbers. Let's take a look at a problem. We're going to look at 5 total problems today. This first problem says, Mia is having 15 people over for Thanksgiving dinner. So she's having some people over. Each person will get 2 dinner rolls. Dinner rolls come in packages of 8. How many packages of dinner rolls does she need to buy for Thanksgiving dinner? Okay, so the first thing I would do would just think about this problem. She's having people over. Each person's going to get a certain amount of rolls. So we need to know how many rolls we need to order. Then Mia's going to go to the store and she's going to go and get some packages of dinner rolls. Well, how many come in a package, and then how many is she going to need? So that's the real big picture here, is how many dinner rolls does she need? And then how many packages is she going to need to buy? So thinking about this story as a whole, I want you to go ahead and write an equation. How would I solve this problem? What equation would help me solve this problem? Do that now. If I was setting up this equation, the first thing I need to figure out is how many total rolls does she need to buy in the first place. So she's having 15 people over, and then each person is getting 2 rolls. So if I had 2 people over and each person would get 2 dinner rolls, I would need 4 dinner rolls. If I was having 3 people over, everybody would need 6. So I need to double it. However many people, I need to double that to figure out the number of rolls, or multiply times 2. So my first step to solving this problem would be multiplying 15 times 2. That's going to give me my total number of dinner rolls. Now, when we think about division, our total ends up being our dividend, and then our divisor is what's breaking that total into pieces. So once we find our total, we found our dividend, and then we need to break it into our equal groups. So if dinner rolls come in groups of 8, or packages of 8, and I want to know how many packages I need to buy, I'm going to then divide by 8. So go ahead and solve this problem. How many total people, or total dinner rolls is she going to need? And then divide that by 8 to figure out what your quotient is and what your remainder is. When we multiply 15 times 2, we get 30, and then we're dividing 30 by 8. Now we could draw a picture to help us with this problem, or we can think about our multiplication facts, or our multiples of 8. So 8 times what is going to get me close to 30 without going over? Well, 8 times 2, 8 groups of 2, or 8 in each package, so 2 packages of 8 would get me 16. 3 packages of 8, or 8 groups of 3, is going to get me 24. And then 4 packages of 8 is going to get me 32. Well, 32 is too many because I only have 30, so I'm going to be looking at 3. So 30 divided by 8 gets me 3. Remainder, I'm at 24 if I have 8 times 3, and I need to add 6 more. So I have 3 remainder 6 as my answer to this division problem. Now, we need to go back and reread our problem to think about what it's asking us. I want to know how many packages she needs to buy. She needs to have at least 30 dinner rolls so that everybody can get 2 rolls. When she has 3 packages, that's only going to give her 24 dinner rolls. And she needs to make sure she has 30. So this is going to be what type of problem to make sure she gets 30 dinner rolls. It's going to be a quotient plus 1 problem. She needs to make sure she has enough dinner rolls for everybody. So when I'm looking to know how many dinner rolls, or how many packages of dinner rolls does she need to buy, she's going to need to buy 4 packages to make sure she has enough dinner rolls for everybody for Thanksgiving. So not only is this a multi-step problem, but then we also have to think about our answer that we're getting. She needs to make sure she has enough for everybody, so she needs 4. Here's our next problem. Lucy bought 4 bags of corn for a cookout. Each bag holds 16 ears of corn. Once cooked, the ears of corn will be placed on plates. Each plate can hold 8 ears of corn. How many plates are needed to serve all of the corn? Okay, again, let's think of this like a story. She's going to the store, she's buying some bags of corn, and she's going to cook it. Well, there are a certain number in each bag. So in this case, there are 4 bags and 16 in each bag, and she's going to cook all of those. Well, how many is all of those ears of corn? An ear of corn is just one big piece of corn on the cob. So how many total ears of corn is she going to have? Once she figures out how many total she's going to have, she's going to split that total and put them onto plates of 8. So what equation can you write to solve this problem? Well, to figure out the total number of corn, we have to multiply her bags times how many are in each bag. So we're going to be multiplying 4 times 16, and that's going to give us our total. Now in division, our total is called our dividend, and it's important that we have a total before we divide. So once we have our total number of ears of corn, she's then going to separate them into 8 on each plate, and I want to know how many plates she's going to need to serve all of the corn. So go ahead and solve this. I want to know what is my quotient, what is my remainder if I have one, and then how many plates are needed to serve all of the corn. The first thing that we need to do to solve this problem is to multiply. So maybe we use the area model to multiply, and we have 4, 10, and 6, so 40 and 24. So we have a total of 64 ears of corn. We're then going to split that into plates with 8 ears of corn on each plate. So then we're going to divide 64 divided by 8. That's a division problem that we know. We don't even need to use any long division for that. We don't need to list any multiples. 8 goes into 64 8 times. So we don't have to interpret our remainder here. When we're looking at this problem, how many plates is she going to need to serve all of the corn? She's going to need 8 plates. And that's our final answer. Okay. Next problem, Miss McDowell has 97 third grade and 121 fourth grade projects to display in the guidance hallway. Only 6 projects can fit in a row. How many rows will she need to display all of the third and fourth grade students' projects? Okay, again, think of this like a story. She has all of these projects, and then she needs to split them into equal rows. In order for us to figure out what our total is to divide, well, we're going to need to figure out what that total is. In this problem, she has 97 for third grade and 121 projects for fourth grade. And those are going to give us our total number of projects that she's then splitting into rows. We're not going to do any multiplication here. What are we going to do with this 97 and this 121? And then if she can only put 6 projects on a row, what are we going to do with that? Well, in order to figure out our total, we would have to add these 2 wholes together. So we know that we have 97 total projects for third grade and 121 total projects for fourth grade. So we're going to have to do some addition. That's going to give us our total, or our dividend, that we're then going to break into pieces. We need to know how many rows she's going to need, and 6 projects can fit on each row. So once we get our total number of projects, we're then going to have to divide that by 6. So let's go ahead and add first, and then divide by 6 to figure out how many rows is she going to need to display all of the third and fourth grade student projects. We'd start with some addition, so 121 plus 97, or you could do 97 plus 121, it would not matter. And we have 218 total projects. So now we need to take our total number of projects and divide it by the number of projects that fit on each row to figure out how many rows we're going to need. Go ahead and do your division. Use any method you like to figure out how many rows we're going to need to display all of the projects. I went ahead and solved this problem using partial quotients, and over here I have my answer of 36 remainder 2. Now, my answer is talking about 36 rows, 36 full rows of projects, and then 2 projects left over. But my question's asking me how many rows is she going to need to display all of the projects. And these two are part of that all. I don't want to leave two projects undisplayed, so this is going to be a quotient plus 1 problem so that I can display all of my projects. If 36 is my quotient, that's the number of rows. I need to add one more row to display those last two projects, so she's going to need 37 rows in order to display all of the art projects. Okay, 2 more problems to go. Mr. Millard bought 10 dozen donuts. The donuts were divided into 6 bags. How many donuts were in each bag? What equation are you going to set up to solve this problem? How many total donuts do you have? And then how many groups are you splitting them into? We have a number word here of dozen. A dozen means 12. So if I was solving this problem, I need to figure out how many total donuts I'm starting with. So I need to do some multiplication. 10 times 12. Then I'm going to divide by 6. So go ahead and solve this problem. Start by doing your multiplication so that you can find the total number of donuts that he bought, and then divide by 6. That's the number of bags that he's splitting the total into. When we multiply 10 times 12, we have 120 divided by 6. Then we can use basic facts to solve this problem. We see our 12 right here. We can divide 6 into 12. It goes in 2 times, and then I bring down my 0. So how many donuts will be in each bag? 20 donuts. All right, one last problem. Miss Ike bought 6 boxes of magnets. There were 25 magnets in each box. She wanted to give an equal amount to each of the 5 4th grade classes. How many magnets will each class receive? What equation are you going to set up to solve this problem? Think about the total number of magnets and then how many groups they're being broken into. And then go ahead and solve for your equation. If I was setting up this equation and I wanted to know the total number of magnets that Miss Ike purchased, I would have 6 boxes and 25 magnets in each box, so I'd be multiplying 6 times 25. I then need to take that total and divide it into 5 equal groups. So my first step is going to be doing some multiplication to find out the total number of magnets I'm working with, and then I'm breaking it into 5 equal groups. Go ahead and solve that now. When I multiply 6 times 25, I can think about quarters. So I know if I have 4 quarters, I have 100 cents. And then if I have 2 more quarters, that's 50 cents. So 100 plus 50 gives me 150 cents, or 150 is 6 times 25. I'm then going to divide that by 5. For this problem, I see another basic fact right here. So I have my 15 and my 5. I don't need to do anything fancy to solve this division problem. I can just think about my basic facts. 5 goes into 15 3 times, and I bring my 0 down. So I get a total of 30 magnets are going to be what each class gets. Okay, when you're solving these word problems, make sure you're thinking about them like a story. Think about division. In division, we have a total that we're breaking into groups. So make sure we find that total before we start breaking things into groups. Tomorrow, we're going to be reviewing everything we've learned so far in Chapter 4 to get you ready for your test. See you then.